built.
Part of it is that oil and stone is pretty much the equivalent of sealing your driveway, and we don't do it annually, but it is a every 4 or 5 year process. We all know what the costs of pavement are.
I'm only wondering because that one has been on. We've had to have that one on our list more often than 4 or 5 years. Do we have to start looking at portions of it that we need to rebuild? Are we just? What's the situation with that road?
The subbase of the road was not up to spec, but it's water under the bridge. We can't do anything
Absolutely.
About what
Right.
was done previously. We only have to deal with what we've got now. As far as the number of the cycle, since I took over the job, I don't think, I'm 100% sure without consulting my records, but one thing I have looked at is a 4 to 5 year chip and seal plan. So I don't think I've been back yet to any streets that I did in my first year. I don't think.
This may have been done the last time just before you did, and then once since you've been, because it has a more regular than most of the other streets. When I got the list back about 10 years, and we have to reach a point I think where some of our streets we have to look at. It's great to be able to do this, but as you're saying, really it is just a matter of sealing them, and sometimes there's going to be a problem that you need to address in some fashion, and this may be one. I mean, I remember there was always discussion about the problem. We had to have the bridge on that street redone. I think the town had to do that about 20 years ago because that was not a really designed bridge that they put underneath that the cul-de-sac.
The only thing that chip and seal does is preserve what you already have. It doesn't. It provides a seal to the top of the pavement to keep out sun and the water, and it provides a traction surface, and that's what the stone is for. It doesn't strengthen the road. If the road is, there are some, granted, we do seal a couple of streets that probably are well beyond it, but we really don't have the funds to do what some of the streets actually need. For Trustee D'Amico, a number of years ago, he had asked me to do a comparison between the cost of chip and seal and the cost of asphalt pavement. And for approximately $5,000, I can chip and seal a lane mile of roadway that's material, manpower, equipment included. And at that time, which was a number of years ago, to purchase the asphalt for a 1-inch overlay was $18,000. That doesn't include the manpower to put it down, the equipment, and everything else. So,
what can we do right now when talking about the rocks that are in the culverts and along?
Actually, it's funny because we were up on Castile on the heights today with the sweeper, and I know that we took a lot of material out of there. And I apologize to the residents of Castile Drive, and you are 100% correct that the process last year is not up to the usual process. We are not totally in control, and I'm not trying to blame anybody else, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have other people involved where you can kind of, But we do avail ourselves of the county service, and that's they provide the stone machine, and actually it's the stone is the only thing anybody sees. The distributor puts the oil down and the stone machine covers it. And when you're putting down too much stone, and I don't know if it was a new operator or a sub, but we kept trying to get him to turn the stone down, and we got what we got. But once the oil goes down, we got to get it covered. If he's putting down too much, we still got to get it down. We had a problem with the truck that the oil company had sent us. It was great on the straightaways, but it was too big for the cul-de-sacs. So instead of being able to get around the cul-de-sacs and make one pass with the stone machine, it became a bunch of stripes and multiple layers of stone to cover the same areas. Hopefully we'll avoid those pitfalls this year. In fact, I'll just request that they send me a short truck.
Right. So, but you've been up there, like you say, today, sweeping and getting
today, and I know that we took a ton of stone out of Claudia Court.
Okay, so some of that should get better. Are you going to?
I think it's Suzanne,
yeah. We'll be up there probably another couple of days. cleaning up, and things will get, I don't want it to rain, but I do, because I wanna get the loose stone, as much of the loose stone off, then a good rain will wash some of
Wash it to the side,
flames
yeah.
out of the stone. Now that the stone is not there, a couple more sweepings and things will,
Do you guys fog seal when it's done to cover it or no?
no.
Okay.
Fog seal is a procedure by itself, doesn't require, you don't use the stone.
Right. We don't go over it afterwards for
No.
a second. Okay.
The other thing, Jack, but finish.
So that's closer to a driveway seal. That provides absolute, you know what you do that? You can fog seal a road that maybe has been paved within the last year, and put a coat of sealant on it, but it doesn't give you any traction surface, and it doesn't take care of any small cracks and stuff.
The other thing is when we got the calls about Castile last year, I talked with Jack that day. I think you sent somebody up that Friday afternoon and did a pass through it. And one of the things we talked about is maybe next year or this year, cycling the truck around, covering all the areas before you do the second and third trip over it, so that you're not. I guess the plan was to do one street and get it done, get everything swept up, and then move on to the next street and follow that route. That maybe we could move it around so we hit all the streets with one pass that have been oil and stone, so that somebody like Steelite isn't waiting like they did basically to the very end to get the street sweeping done last year.
Well, and the problem there was that we were, again, waiting for the proper equipment to go back and do the cul-de-sacs. So we had done the straights as much as we could, parts of the cul-de-sacs, then the next piece of equipment came in to finish the cul-de-sacs, put more stone down, and we probably just didn't get back to sweep them again.
And we were, what, about a month and a half late doing it with the county anyway because of the weather? And
Yes.
The flood,
Yep.
flood happened.
yeah. Anyone else wish to address the board?
Hello, we're from Fredonia Radio Systems from the SUNY Fredonia campus, and we just wanted to address the board to thank you for allowing us to have Rock in the Commons this coming Saturday. Rock Commons from 11 till 9 p.m. And just to let everyone know that all the proceeds are going to Roswell Cancer Institute, and there's going to be a children's fair from 11 to 1, and I'm trying to think.
Live music.
Live music.
From 11 to 9, Chevette's Chicken Barbecue. Our goal this year is to raise $3,000. It'll actually go to a specific form of leukemia because a member from SUNY Fredonia, Nick Spawn, has leukemia, and so we are donating in his name towards research for his specific type. So we wanted to thank you for letting us use the Barker Commons again this year and in all previous years.
Welcome.
Yeah, I wonder if we could make sure if I could talk to you for just a few minutes afterwards, just to, we'll go through a couple of things and make sure we've got it all together. And thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you. Anyone else? I was.
Gary Conti, Prospect Street, Fredonia. My question is, a while back, there was a study done on the Canada Way Street project, and at that time, I guess it was put on the back burner, and I was just wondering if there was any other consideration happening with that at all. The other issue that we had was that my son Andrew already discussed with Mr. St. George. So is that taken care of? Or is it going to be taken care of?
That's Mr. Bowen, he knows all about it, yes.
Sign's been ordered.
The sign's been ordered?
Yes.
There was another issue. Did he mention that to you?
No, just they keep parking in your parking.
Oh, well,
Your
that's
parking.
one issue.
And
Okay,
that there was no area down below to identify that there was parking up, where the village had built
Yeah.
their parking.
I appreciate, after 30 years of asking, that the parking lot was finally put in. Yeah, we do need a sign down there, to mark for the parking. The other issue that he